Hi everybody, today we are doing a comparison. So we're going to have a look at the new California T7 over here against the old 6.1 to the side here. These two vehicles are brand new, so obviously we've got the outgoing model and we've got the brand new model that's just turned up. We're going to have a look at both. We're going to see what the differences are. They're both the Ocean model, they're both in the same colour. The new T7 platform is slightly smaller, and you'll see that from the shots. You can see from the height of the vehicle, but interior space when we actually get inside it, not done any measurements actually as yet, but we will get onto that at some point. It doesn't feel any different when you actually get inside. So let's have a stand back and have a good old view at the two vehicles. And straight off, the first thing you can tell is the 6.1 is ever so slightly wider and thicker as a vehicle, so its stance on the road is a little bit bigger. You can have a look at the side of it from on there as well, so it does give you a little bit further, but the multivan is certainly a lot more sleeker. You look at the front and the nose of the vehicle, it's kind of a bit more like a cone, so it's kind of going up, and that's obviously going to help with things like airflow, where things like the older model, the T6.1, and I'm sure Volkswagen won't mind me saying this because I have used this phrase a lot when I'm talking about aerodynamics and stuff like this on these type of vehicles, but this is a bit more like a brick on wheels. And that's nothing against the 6.1. I love this vehicle, always have done, always will do. I've got one of these myself, so definitely love this vehicle as well. But obviously you can see this more sleeker design on the new T7. So Ocean specification, LED headlights standard on both, alloy wheels standard on both. Quite interesting to see that both wheels come standard with the silver alloy wheels, and it is available as an upgrade to go for the darker wheels, which a lot of these 6.1s did come with the Woodstock alloys that's on there. You can do exactly the same thing and upgrade on the T7, but there is a cost involved in that. It's about £240 if you want to do that. We've done some of that on some of the vehicles that we've ordered. So moving back, you can kind of see where the height difference is a little bit now when you're looking at these two here. So we've got our wing mirror here and our wing mirror here on the side of it from on there, and you can see there's a bit of a height difference. Not a huge height difference, but just a little bit of a height difference, and you can see that following up as you start to come towards the pillars that's on here as well. If I point into the top parts that's on there, and this is kind of the difference between the two, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because this vehicle is under the 2 meters, this is under the 2 meters as well, but if you're trying to get in car parks and things like that, this can be a little scary at times when you're driving into a car park, especially if it says 2 meters or 2.1. You do feel like you're really close to that one, but this is under the 2 meter mark, because when you're talking about the awning size as well, as the awning raises to, that's on here, so you know it's a little bit lower but not a lot lower. There's hardly anything in it. We are talking millimeters and centimeters here in difference between it. So as we move back, obviously we've got our 2 side doors, and what's interesting, you notice these are all on the same side now as we're coming in. So obviously on the 6.1, the awning rail and the door is all on the driver's side. On the T7, it's with doors on both sides, but the awning as standard is on this side, which brings us then back into line with everybody else that's in the UK driving around. All the vehicles on the same. On your campsite, you're going to be pointing the right way, all that kind of stuff as well. So side doors, windows in both side doors, no different to that as well. Moving back, still got our Ocean badges on both. If anything, on the T7, slightly better and easier to see the badge that's on the back of it, that's on there as well. And then obviously things like our electric caps for our electric. We've got the newer design one here on the back compared to the older version on the other one. Worth pointing out as well, no water cap on the T7, and that's because the water is inside the vehicle, so you have to open the tailgate to fill it up with water, so no cap on the outside of it. Another feature as well actually, which I've noticed is on here as well, is we've got the badging on who the awning is. Now the awning, the old awning, exactly the same make as the new awning, but this one's actually got the badge on the side that actually tells you who it's actually supplied by. That's on here, where the other one, there's a badge inside that says it's supplied by anyway, no different, but they are on there anyway. Okay, let's start with this one, height test. So where am I? An inch, maybe an inch, something like that, but I'm all underneath here, no problems whatsoever. Let's have a walk over to here, and isn't that amazing? Pretty much exactly the same amount of space, which when you consider the fact that the vehicle is lower, because it is, Do you want to see a video with me with a tape measure, actually measuring these out and getting the right angles? They'll be in the brochure anyway, but we could do that as a later one. So height-wise from the tailgate that's on there, I can get underneath here. Obviously, depending on the size that you are, will depend up from there. I would imagine that what will be on this tailgate, if we're looking at it slightly from the back from here, you kind of get a shot there of how it is with the tailgates. And very cleverly, you'll notice this is kind of sweeping up ever so slightly, and that's probably what's given us that extra height in the back there. Anyway, on to other things. So we have got things like our water, etc. Now, as I said, it's not on the outside, it's on the inside of the vehicle. So we pop that in there, and you do get supplied with this little thing, which I think goes in like that, so you can pour your water in, so it's not all going to go over your car. Quite like that actually, just a little thing. But we're doing videos on this at another point, so we can get into there anyway. But as we can see in the sides of the vehicle, now this is one area that you definitely do see some differences here, because this as a volume feels a lot smaller than in the 6.1. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. Is one, it is smaller and the vehicle comes in a bit at the back, I think. So this aperture definitely feels a lot smaller at my eye level as I'm looking across into the vehicle. So it does definitely feel quite a bit smaller that's down the sides here, but I'm not necessarily thinking that's a bad thing. There's still loads and loads of space that's underneath the vehicle as well. If we pop over onto the other side, and I'm standing here, my eye level is not a huge amount different, but this does feel a lot more open. One of those is because this window hasn't got the storage pod that's in there. I think if it did have the storage pod in it, again, this would feel slightly more closer. Obviously, a bit more space in the 6.1 underneath, but still plenty of space in the other vehicle as well. Any of you who've got these and go and use them a lot, there's nooks and crannies and you can put things everywhere. So there is lots and lots of space that's in here as well. Obviously, we've got our cupboards and things like that that's in here, and we'll have a look in the back of that one as well as we move over to that one. We've still got our lights in here, and we've got our blind, which just pulls across and just links into there. And this is like a material type of thing. Takes 2 minutes, nice and easy to do. The new window isn't as big, obviously it gives a slightly different size of window that's there as it comes through. But as I said, in the back here we've got loads and loads of space all the way back into there. You've got space on top of here obviously to put more things. This is an ocean variation. If you had the coast, you wouldn't have this, for example, so you'd have a bit more head height. So cupboard wise, completely different design of cupboards that's in here. So plenty of space that's in here and going all the way down. We've got cupboards at the top, cupboards at the bottom, cupboards at the far side that's on there as well, and the extra storage that's on the bottom that's on here. Has it got a little bit less cupboard space? Yes, definitely, volume wise. But again, it's about how you use that space. So in here, you know, our back cupboard, for example, in the previous one, got lots and lots of room that's in there. And again, cupboard space on the side here, lots of space. Where obviously then your cooking and things like that will be in your main storage areas that's in there as well. And I think, as I said, the two vehicles, you'll be using them slightly differently possibly. The big question is how much space do you actually need? And this is one thing that's very difficult to know until you actually get one and you've used it for a weekend, which is why things like, and I'll mention it now, they are doing the T7 on try before you buy, so you will be able to hire these from Volkswagen dealers, the California centres that is, to go and borrow one for a weekend, for example. There's a cost involved in that, but you know, if you're going to buy one anyway, or you're thinking of buying one, it's a really good idea to do that. You'll get a good idea about what things you need to take with you, how much space you're going to have in those as well. And then finally, before we actually get into the insides of the vehicles, let's have a look at the roof itself. Now, if you actually look at the roof mechanism and how it looks, I cannot tell any difference whatsoever between this. It wouldn't even surprise me. Is it exactly the same roof and they've just changed the design slightly at the top that comes on from there? It's definitely the same. It's no different that's in there as well. It's the bedside as it comes down is using the pocket springs. We'll have a quick look at that when we get inside the vehicle. Both electric, pop-up roof that would say. The T7, miles quieter than the 6.1. From putting the roof up and down, it's no different on either of the models. It is easier on the T7 because you're just pressing a button on the dash, where so you're not going through the head-up display, which you will be doing on the 6.1, and it does sound a lot quieter, which when you consider it's pretty much the same, looks like it's the same roof, the same design, the same mechanics of how it actually works between the two, but we did notice it's significantly quieter, or it seems to be significantly quieter in the T7 than what it does in the 6.1. But as always, there'll be another video purely on the roof on its own between them, so we can get into all that in there. So anyway, let's have a look inside. So we're going to open both doors. The unique perspective now of actually being able to open both doors on the same side of the vehicle. Now this Ocean has got a couple of options on it, and one of them is the electric sliding door. So it has got the electric sliding door option that's on here. Doing comparison wise, we're going to have a look at the other side, because obviously the 6.1 only has one door and you're getting straight into the vehicle, and then we're in the center console. With the T7 now, we've got a door on both sides. Obviously you can use whichever door you want. You can get in whichever door you want. Obviously you've got a slightly reduced space on here. We're going to whip the seats quickly around in a minute so we can have a look at your actual area within the actual vehicle, your living area that's in there as well. But obviously that's one of the big key differences between these is one single door, now two doors. I think when we get into warmer weather and you're away next year, for example, if you've got a T7, you'll have both your doors open, you'll have your awning out on here. I wouldn't be surprised if you've got an awning of some description or something on the other side of the vehicle, and you'll just be swapping in and out of the vehicle from both sides when it's nice and warm. This in there, obviously not warm at the moment, but I think that's going to be a big benefit. Been a lot of comments about having twin doors that's on there, but I've seen quite a few conversions now with twin door conversions using exactly this type of setup that's in the vehicle as well. I think this is a great thing. I think it makes it feel inside, even though, as we said, it's a bit smaller than the 6.1, it definitely does not feel like that inside. That's a bit of a fair comparison. I've closed the other door on the other side, so this is our space that we've got to get into that's in here. So if I have a sit, we've moved turn the seats around, etc. That's in here as well, to give you an idea on space. So, you know, can I get my arms all around? Obviously I can stand up, no problems at all. Kind of like spin my things around. It feels to me like it's the same amount of space. We'll go and jump in the 6.1 now, and that'll give us an idea of how much actual space there is. Obviously we're sitting not quite opposite each other. Those two seats are ever so slightly more to that side that's here as well. I think obviously depending on how you've got this set up, so you could have the table, for example, coming out here if you wanted to, so you could eat that's on there. You can put the table right in the middle as well, if you want to use it from on there as well. So plenty of different spaces depending on what you need, but loads of space in here. Obviously if you're sitting here, it's quite nice and comfortable. If you've really been driven along, or you're sitting here at night, for example, you could put a TV on the table or something like that. If you were just the two of you, for example, sitting here, there's plenty of space again that's here. You've got everything you need is close at hand, loads of headroom that's there, so it doesn't feel small at all. Right, let's get in the 6.1. Same position. Go on, sit over here. So does it feel bigger? Yes, this does feel a little bit bigger, a little bit further away possibly, that's on there, but because these cabinets, the way they're designed, is a lot longer, it definitely feels like there's a slightly bit more space that's in here. But on the other side, I would say that feels cozier that's in there. Now I know cozier is kind of a word for saying it's smaller, I get that, but at the same time it makes you feel that a bit more in together. The interior, I think I actually prefer the interior actually in that one, if I'm going to be honest with you, compared to what it is that's in here. You definitely have got more space that's in here. So if there's four of you, things like, for example, this cabinet here, your legs are off to the side a little bit where you've got a little bit more room in the T7. If I move over to the other side here and sit in this here that's on the back, that's on there, I don't think this feels any differently to sitting in the T7 next as it's in there as well. My arm feels like it's in the same place. My seat feels like I'm in the same place. Admittedly, this isn't, the seats is wider, definitely this bench seat's definitely wider than the T7, but no reason for it to be particularly wider. If anything, those are more comfy because they're an individual seat, so you can put them down and up as you want them to be as well, that's in there. So I think I said this when I went to Dusseldorf originally. I got in there and said I don't understand it, it feels the same size. And I think if you're jumping in and out like I've just done now, yes, you can tell that this does feel bigger, slightly bigger inside than the T7 does. However, if you were going to go and jump in that T7 now, I think you'd be thinking it was lots and lots of space that's in there. And what they've done with the size that's in there is brilliant, because it does feel very spacious when you get inside that vehicle. So kitchen wise, we do see a big difference that's here as well. So obviously on the 6.1 we've got 2 burner hob, where we've only got the single burner on the T7, and the sync unit wise as well, no real differences there on that one. I actually definitely 100% prefer the sync unit. I think in the T7 I think it's a little bit better. I know we've had a little bit of criticism about one burner, two burner hobs that's in there. I think that will depend on who's using it, how much you're using it for the actual vehicle yourself. For me, single burner is fine. I've only got one burner on my beach anyway, so I'm used to that, I suppose. I'm not and I always have another burner to use outside of the vehicle anyway. And fridge wise, I've always loved this fridge. I really do like this fridge because of the fact it's top loading and it's it's so big. It's got lots and lots of space that's actually in it. Looking at the T7 fridge that's in there and the new fridge that's in there, I think you're going to get the same amount of things that's in there because of the way it's designed. You'll probably pack it slightly better than you can do on this fridge here. I always take this cradle out whenever I go away and use the fridge that's in here. But again, I think with what you're actually using for, I think with the T7 variation that's in there in the fridge is just as good as what this is here. Now obviously the big thing about the T7 is that fridge is accessible from the outside. If you want to grab a drink or anything like that when you're out there, you literally pull it out, grab your drink and away you go. And I think that's really where some of these big differences come to now, is when we're actually talking about the newer version, the T7 version. What's that vehicle all about? It's not just about this camper that we've got, the California camper thing that's in there as well. It's a vehicle for everybody, and having those twin doors on there, if you're away camping with your friends, I can see this, if you've got one of these T7s, you're going to be in the middle and your friends are going to be coming and going from both sides of your vehicle that's there. And I just think it's, for that purpose and that purpose alone, I think it's a great addition. So we're going to finish there today looking at the comparisons between the two. We could go on for hours looking at different comparisons of this, that and the other, but today's video was about looking at the two vehicles side by side to get an idea on height differences between there as well, and that you actually have a proper good look and getting in and out. Watching me getting in and out will give you an idea of the size comparisons between the two. I think this is an icon. It will be, the T-Series range is an icon. It has been for years. It's going to continue that. But this is the new breed, the T7. This is the new breed. And I think this is going to be going the same way, I think, eventually. And as with always, a new vehicle comes out, people are not sure. I'm getting great feedback as well on the T7. So as always, lots and lots more content to come. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed, because if you don't and you don't hit the notification bell, you won't know when we post our next video. We've got lots more coming. We're going to be trying to post at least twice a week. If you want to see more content and things that we haven't covered, pop it in the comments box below. As you know, if you follow the channel, we do our Q&A sessions, and so obviously we can put all those together and bring those videos and those questions to you at a future date, and we'll see you next time.